Why would I do the deal? What motivates me to sign this deal?
Channel?
Huh?
Channel?
A channel? Yeah, what else? It seems obvious. I get money. I get free company. Add water, get free company. I get $2.5 million worth of profit. I get a free company. I have to be a friggin' moron not to sign this deal, right? But I give something up. I give up a year. I'm giving up a year of my time. If I have something that can make me more than $2.5 million, I should go do that. I couldn't find it. So, from my point of view, this seems pretty obvious, right? Right? Now, there are lots of other things I get from Olympus that are less obvious, but actually more important.
Credibility.
Huh?
Credibility.
I get credibility, so I get brand equity. I call it brand equity, right? So now a consumer looks at a product, they see it as being an Olympus product as opposed to a Sound Vision product. Instead of saying, who's Sound Vision? They go, oh, Olympus, they make this product. So I get instant credibility in the market. Would Olympus sign this deal without doing some research first?
No.
So what kind of research? If you were president of Olympus, what would you do? Who would you talk to know whether you should do this deal? You'd talk to other producers. Who else would you talk to? On the other side of the equation, on the buy side of the equation, who would you talk to? Would you talk to your retail clients? Would you talk to the buyer at Walmart?
Yeah.
See if there's a market for the product? Would you run focus groups and see if customers were interested in buying the product?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have all the money and you have all those connections. So when I engage with Olympus, I'm not just getting their agreement that this is a good product. I'm getting the agreement of their process that this is a good product. I can't afford that process. I don't have those relationships. So they're doing my market research for me. They do their market research as due diligence. But it's still market research. So they did all the things I said. They had focus groups. They went to their retail partners. They talked about the product, the specifications. They saw what kind of volumes each retailer would buy. They didn't just make up 100,000. They went and pre-sold the product. So I'm getting market intelligence from a partner that I can't afford to get on my own. I'm getting cash that I don't have to sell equity for. I don't have to negotiate with venture capitalists. They're just giving me a loan. I own 100% of the company. And they're taking the responsibility for marketing and selling the product and saying, you don't have to worry about it. You get it to my loading dock, and I got it from there. And if they underestimated the cost of marketing and sales, what are they going to do? They're going to come back to me? No, they're going to go into their bank account, they're going to get more money, and they're going to fix their marketing and sales. From my point of view, this is like a sweet deal.
Yeah.
This is like no risk. No, but okay, but that one seems obvious. Why would Olympus do this deal? This is crazy.
They
Yes.
so 1 year time that you have invested, they use your R&D, you have something finished. They don't need to start from zero.
Right.
They saw something that was interesting to them.
So, right, so there, let's look at their alternatives. What are the choices, right? What could they do?
Developing sign.
They could develop it internally.
Yes.
So do you think they just said, no, that's too hard to do? No, they went and they asked their engineering vice president to write plans. They said, create a plan for making this Bob's product. Bob says he can do it for $3.2 million. How much do you want? He said, I want $6.4 million. Bob said he can do it in a year. How much time do you need? I need 2 years. Well, how come Bob's so much faster and cheaper than you? Well, I'm living in this wonderful building. My overhead is very high. I got meetings all day talking to assholes like you. It's like, you know, it's like, we're slow here. We're just slow. So Sid, the president of Olympus, he looks at me and he goes, 3.2 million in a year. And he looks internally, 6.4 million in 2 years. It's like, okay. So, does he stop there? No, he goes to other camera companies and he says, hey, can you make me the product? And they say, no, we can make it for We couldn't turn and make it a product of a year, no, it can't happen. So SID doesn't really have those old targets. But there's even something here that's more important, that's so interesting. If SID did the development internally, and he spent $6.4 million, how does it affect SID's own profit and loss statement and SID's own bonus check? What's the effect? He spent $6.4 million over 2 years. What's the impact on his own P&L?
Cash flow.
Huh?
Cash flow.
No, I'm not talking about cash flow, I'm talking about profits and loss.
He has
6.4 minus 3.2, 3.2.
No, I'm saying if he does the development internally, what's the effect on his P&L?
He doesn't get a bonus because he spent $6.4 million.
Say it again?
He doesn't get a big bonus because he spends $6.4 million.
His profit goes down by $6.4 million of R&D expense. His profit goes down.
In a project that is has a longer payback, so it's gonna affect
In
him
the
twice.
first year, it's just negative profit. That's all it is. In the first year, it's negative profit. If his bonus is tied to stock price, which it probably is, when the profit goes down, the price goes down. When the price goes down, his bonus goes down. SID personally makes less money by spending money on R&D. SID makes personally less money by spending more money on R&D. And you guys are surrounded by information, and you see it every day, but maybe you never ask yourself, why is it true? Why would Facebook pay $21 billion for WhatsApp? If you're an engineer, and I ask you how long and how much to develop WhatsApp, would you say, oh, 21 billion was about the right number? 21 billion would hire all of the programmers on the planet, probably. We can't justify purchasing these companies on the basis of comparing the R&D costs. These companies buy companies because it does not show up on their P&L, and they do not get penalized. And I have to tell you something, this is a relatively new invention. When I was in my 30s, FASB, the Fair Accounting Standards Principles, basically, the accounting practices that were used by public companies, when I was in my 30s, if a company acquired another company, the acquirer had to write off, depreciate the goodwill value over 7 years. So Facebook would be writing off $21 billion over 7 years. That's $3 billion a year off of their profit. When I was in my 30s, that was proper accounting. 10 years ago, I don't know, 15 years ago, the Securities Exchange Commission and FASB changed the accounting rules. And they said, oh, now when you buy a company, you no longer need to write off the goodwill value of the company, you can just hold it on your balance sheet forever.
I have a question. I understand the reason, but I think it's not the only reason, because it happens a lot, especially in Brazil with IT companies. They have difficulty or when they grow up organic, they grow up very slow. And what they are looking for? Well, I will find another company that will pay me more, but I have their customers, I have their technology, and I want to grow faster than them. Of course, I'm not affecting directly my P&L. Even I have to spend the same money to develop by myself, but even I develop the same solution, I don't have the customers. I don't have the customers to sell. Maybe I take the same 10 years or more to have the same level of income.
There's no question, sir. I agree with your statement completely, that when you buy a company, you're getting more than just the technology, you're getting the customer base and lots of other things.
With market share.
But it's also true that in Brazil, as studied by Gomperbaugh, in a published report, since 1977, of all the acquisitions studied, 0 succeed. 0. Acquisition strategies haven't worked in Brazil. They haven't worked here in the U.S. On the whole, most of the acquisitions get written off, and the ideas were just not that good, and the penalties are small because you carry it on your balance sheet. You basically carry the goodwill on your balance sheet. You carry it there forever. And the companies are so overvalued in terms of market capitalization that it has no impact on us. They're playing with monopoly money. It's their attitude. And I'm not suggesting that there's one reason. There are lots of reasons that companies do deals, acquisitions and others. But if you were president of a company and there was research and development that was done by a small company and they had no sales and no market share, and you just look at the R&D cost, you're still better off buying it, because if I buy it, at least I start getting revenue as soon as I buy the company, and it's accretive to my earnings. I'm making more money. Whereas if I do it internally, I gotta suffer during the period where I'm doing the research and development, that my earnings go down, and I get beat up by my boss or by the marketplace, and my stock value and my bonus goes down. So everything conspires to the same answer. It's better for companies to do development outside than it is for them to do it inside. Everything conspires to the same answer. So yesterday you raised the question, why won't they steal it from me? The answer is, it's not in their best interest to steal it. It's in their best interest to buy it from them. Better for them. Your own selfish reasons, it's better for them to buy. And when Olympus made the decision to loan me the money, which is a balance sheet event, when they loan me the money, there's no impact on their P&L. We're taking $3.2 million in cash, and they're moving it as $3.2 million in deposit. No impact on their profit and loss statement.
It was unreceivable for them.
It's easy. It was an easy decision. Everything combined to point to, it's better to do it externally. It's faster, it's cheaper, there's no impact on my P&L until I actually start selling product. Everything conspired to this one answer. It's better to do it externally. So from Olympus's point of view, it made a lot of sense. So what are the risks to me? I already said what the risks to me are. I lose a year. I lose 1 year of my life. I tried to build this camera. We made some fundamental flaw in technology. We screwed up. And at the end of the year, we go, oh, I'm sorry, I can't deliver the products. I didn't personally co-sign the note. So at the end of the year, I walk away, I lost a year of my life. That's the risk to me.
Not about that 3.2 billion.
It's their money, it's not my money.
Didn't they lend you?
They lent it to me, but I didn't personally sign it, the company signed it. And I'll bankrupt the company,
Okay.
right? So there's no personal risk to me, there's no risk. I refuse to sign it. Well, what's the risk to Olympus? What's the worst outcome?
3.2
$3.2 million, right? The worst possible story is they write me a check for $3.2 million, and I fly to Rio, I get 3 girlfriends, and I'm not seen. That's it. I disappear, right? That's the worst story, right? President Olympus fired. He loses his job because he signed a bad deal. I wasted his money, his company's money. That's the worst outcome from Olympus's point of view. So when you negotiate deals with large companies, what the entrepreneur must do is, you're not in selling mode. You're not trying to sell. You're not trying to negotiate for the best price. What you're trying to do is construct a deal that's acceptable to the large company and reduces their risk. So it's my responsibility to negotiate a deal that makes it easy for them to sign. That's my job. So how do I do that in this particular case? How do I construct a deal where you're lending me 3.2 million, and if I disappear early in the deal, you're screwed, and you're gonna lose your job, and I can't let that happen. What do I do to change the deal? And let me give you 2 hints. It has to do with timing, and it has to do with collateral. What do you mean?
To complete a structure which puts both the companies where a share, if the company goes out of the option, everybody's going to share this,
That's on the good side. That's yeah, but what about the bad side? How do I protect them on the downside? You know, if the deal works, everybody's happy, right? I deliver 100,000 cameras, he makes profit of $10 million. He spends $10 million with me, but he sells for $20 million, so he's happy. It's what happens if it turns bad? How do you protect him if it turns bad? What do you do? Do I need all 3.2 million on the first day? So how do I, yes, right. So what I do is I create a staircase. I say, give me 50,000 and I will do X. And then X happens. And they look at me and they go, oh, great, you did X. You have brand equity now. And I say, give me now another 100,000 and I'll do Y. And I do Y. And then I say, give me 250,000 and I'll do Z. And it turns out when you're developing a product like this, most of the expense is actually at the end of the project, not the beginning, because it's the tooling that's very expensive. How you make all these plastic parts and stuff. So I don't need that money until the prototypes are done and I'm taking pictures and the design's finished. I don't produce the tools on the first day. So I create a schedule, and the schedule has payment milestones and it has performance milestones. And each time I reach a performance milestone, it entitles me to the next payment milestone. So I'm protecting him. What about collateral? How do I collateralize the note?
Give him the technology.
I give him the technology. I give the technology to a law firm, and I say to the law firm, hold the technology in escrow. If I default on the note, give the technology. They paid for it after all. Give the technology to them. Now, anytime my company fails, he can always go to his boss and say, well, we were $2 million into this deal, but here, I got $2 million worth of design information, I got $2 million worth of tooling.
So win-win.
It's win-win, right? It's like, it's easy for him. It's easy, because the note is collateralized by the intellectual property. And the payments are staged so that the risk between any 2 payments is small. In fact, I let him put 2 employees in my company to watch me, and they helped. So this is not a negotiation. This is a collaboration. I'm helping him as if my engineering organization is part of his company. It's just run off of his profit and loss statement. Now, what's very interesting about these deals is that they're never about the current product. They're always about the future. The value that I create and I offer to Sid is the ability to create an engineering organization and manufacturing services that can bring him a stream of new products. So he's never going to hurt me intentionally as long as he believes he wants access to that stream. As soon as the stream becomes irrelevant, he's going to kill me. So I'm not even selling the current product, I'm selling future products. I'm not selling that camera, I'm selling a series of cameras and a series of other products that will all be branded through Olympus. And a relationship between our companies where we become a technology provider to Olympus. That's how the deal is structured. So the basic deal had staircase of performance metrics, a staircase of payments, and a collateral for the note that was the intellectual property that was created by the engineering and manufacturing process. That's the way this deal was done. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christmas 1996. We're 11 months into this deal. The prototypes were done. The pictures they took were great. The designs were done. The manufacturing tooling was completed. We actually spent $3.4 million and not $3.2 million, and Sid gave us the extra $200,000 because what choice?
Okay.
So now, it's Christmas. I get a phone call. It's Sid. Merry Christmas, Bob. Merry Christmas, Sid. Sid, you sound like you're far away. Where are you? I'm in Japan. I got bad news. What kind of bad news you got, Sid? I just met with my boss, who's the president of Olympus Japan, and he told me that my job is to sell products that are designed and manufactured in Japan and not products that are designed and manufactured in the United States. And he instructed me to kill the deal. So I cannot buy your products. Sid, what about all the cameras? We just started production. Bob, they're yours. Sell them to somebody else. What about the $3.2 million in debt? Bob, we're going to write it off. It's yours.
So that you sell it?
Hmm?
So that you sell it?
Did I sue him?
No, sold.
Did you sell it to Sony?
No, but I sold it to other companies, but not to Sony, right? Yeah, right. So we went to the Consumer Electronics Show, which is in February. We brought the product without any brand on it. And companies came over to our table and they said, what is that? And we said, it's a $100 digital camera. So they said, can we put our brand on it? Yeah, sure, here. How many you want? 15,000, 10,000? So we sold all 100,000 cameras at the show. We sold them to companies like RCA, brand new electronic companies, Panasonic. Companies that typically license other companies' products to sell under their names. And we sold all 100,000 cameras, and basically we had a company.
Did you sell the technology too?
No, just a camera.
Did you rent the technology?
The know-how behind?
We basically built more technology. We took the technology, we built more.
The know-how
Was
was
ours.
not sold. That's right. This was a good deal.
It's a good deal.
The risk of Olympus was 3.2. Yours was 2.
Best deal ever.
So, there are many lessons that come out of this case though. One lesson is, small companies have an important role in helping large companies through innovation. And they bring technology and innovation to large companies that is valuable to them that they cannot do internally. So whatever product ideas you have in your brain, those products represent value to different companies. In some cases, like in the case of eCurve, the value of the product is not about the product itself, but about the impact the product has on the mainstream business of the company. In other cases, like the Olympus case, it's about the product. And it's about the innovation represented by the team and their ability to bring the product into existence quickly. And it's two very different kinds of deals. The Olympus deal is very different than the eCurve deal. And yet, a small company has incredible value that it can bring to a large company. It's the responsibility of a small company to understand how to work and structure a deal with large companies, because the basic reality is large companies don't know how to do it.
But,